So, winding down from Halloween, I thought it would be fun to do a quick little dice bag project. I have a pencil case that's similar to this book band dice bag, but I wanted to make it a little bit bigger so I could fit writing utensils and a set of dice in it. I personally love taking game notes in smaller notebooks, so I'm planning to make the elastic a little bit short, but you can always make it long enough to go over your handbook or whatever notebook you prefer. This is a stash-friendly project since it takes very little fabric to make. In addition to fabric, you're going to need a zipper a little longer than you want your bag to be, some elastic, and an optional alternative pole. If you don't have or want to use a mini die, you can use a small length of ribbon or a tassel or whatever you feel like. So with our supplies gathered, let's jump on in. The pattern is made up of a simple rectangle designed to fit just over one 7-piece dice set and a pen or two. I made this bag 10 centimeters by 20 centimeters, not including seam allowance. For future use, I marked my pattern with key information. These were name, pattern piece, cutting instructions, size, and a grain line. I cut out the lining first since this was the smaller piece of the fabrics that I was using. I marked out my sewing and cutting lines with an erasable ink pen, and then cut out my lining. I actually opted to shorten my bag a little to suit this scrap rather than do any piecing. I then used the lining piece to cut out the main bag piece to ensure that they were the same size. Pin the zipper to the long edge of the main fabric. I used a nylon invisible zip for my stash since I knew that my machine would be able to sew over it. It was a bit fiddly to put in, so I ended up going back and adjusting my machine's settings and getting in a little closer where I could. Using the lines I drew before, I folded back my seam allowance on the lining and then pinned it into place. Using a decorative stitch, it was sewn into place. I didn't have suitably colored elastic, so I decided to use this white elastic and made a cover from some of the main fabric. This was made to be a little bigger than double the elastic width and matched the elastic length when fully stretched. I trimmed back the seam allowance with pinking shears to keep it from getting too bulky, turned it right side out, and threaded the elastic through with the help of a large safety pin. Baste the ends of the now encased elastic, and with the help of a safety pin, thread the elastic through the bag with the back seam of the elastic casing facing away from the zipper. Push down the lining out of the way and line up the elastic bag with the bag end. Sew it shut securely, being careful as you go over the zipper, and repeat on the other end. Tuck the bag end seam into the lining and whip stitch shut. You can hide tails of your seams by carefully inserting the needle between the lining and the main fabric about a centimeter from where you want to start, and then coming up in the position that you need to stitch from. As a way to make this extra special, I decided to change the zipper pull for a mini D20 that I cast ages ago. I attached a tiny screw eye pin to the top and inked the numbers in light pink to coordinate with the lining. The hardest part of this was maneuvering the jumper ring so I could attach the new pull, but after a lot of fiddling, I managed to get it on and working. This was a very fun little project. It did take a bit of puzzling at points where my over-engineering got in the way, but thankfully those moments weren't very long ones, and it turned out well. I did break a couple of needles, making a silly mistake trying to use the zipper foot and do the decorative stitching, but thankfully I realized my mistake on the second needle. I did have to adjust my tension quite a bit to get the decorative stitching to go smoothly. So one side of the zipper is a little nicer than the other. I love how portable this is, and half of me loves having like a giant die sack and all of the options in the world, and the other part of me loves a streamlined, quick kit that is easy to travel with. That is it for this week. If you like this video, you can check out my other videos, and if you really like this video, you can feel free to subscribe. I hope you have a lovely week. Bye!